All right, good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Sheppard. I'm with the Half Moon Bay Chamber of Commerce. I'm on the Government Affairs Committee. I'm with Crystal and Geet, the Executive Director. And I'd like to thank the three of you for joining us tonight for this Members Candidate Forum. Thomas Jefferson said that whenever the people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government. And having forums just like this is a way to keep the population well informed so they can make a proper choice when they are voting. The way we're going to be doing tonight's forum is we're going to give all three candidates the time to do 3 minutes to do an intro. We're going to ask them 8 different questions, and they're going to have 1 minute each to answer the question, and then we're going to have a 3-minute outro. So to start off, Kirsten Keith, I'm going to let you start off with a 3-minute intro about yourself. So go ahead.
Great, thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Kirsten Keith, and I'm a candidate for the Harbor District in District 5, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for hosting this evening. I'm running for the San Mateo County Harbor District because I love our beautiful county beaches and our harbors. I'm running to protect the precious coastal and bay environment while supporting recreational opportunities and a strong, sustainable commercial fishing industry. I grew up windsurfing and sailing in San Mateo County, and during my undergraduate years at UC Santa Barbara, I had the pleasure of working on the scuba diving boats in the Santa Barbara Harbor, which I loved. I actually moved onto the boats after I finished my undergraduate work in Santa Barbara and before going to law school, and found it a wonderful experience. More recently, I was on the Bear Island Aquatic Center competitive rowing, having a master's rowing program at the Redwood City Port, and I thought that was fabulous. Loved being out on the water. I'm an avid backpacker, and have a law practice in Redwood City for over 20 years. My 8 years of experience on the Menlo Park City Council, 2 as mayor, my 7 years as a Bay Area Water Supply and Conservation Agency Director, and my 7 years as Director of the San Francisco Creek Joint Powers Authority, I was a director on that as well, illustrate my commitment to public service and make me uniquely qualified for this. And this is the first time that we've had district elections, so that's exciting as well. Especially pertinent to the Harbor District position, I've dealt with sea level rise and flooding issues. And as a director on the San Francisco Creek Joint Powers Authority, we completed a $76 million flood control project to prevent the city of East Palo Alto and over 1,000 homes from flooding. And I'm very proud of that project. And now the SFC JPA is working on the second phase now to take people out of the flooding issues that are happening from Highway 101 up to the Pope Chaucer Bridge in Menlo Park. So thank you for having me. Oh, I have more minutes, so I'll just keep talking. I want to let you know I'm endorsed by by Anna Eshoo, Jerry Hill, Supervisor and former State Senator Joe Smidian, David Canepa, and many, many other local leaders. And I have a website, kirstenkeith.com. And please feel free to go there to learn more about my candidacy. I've published a number of papers on Medium, so there's articles that you can see that I've published about why I'm running and water quality issues and what my goals are for the Harbor District. And I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
And I was on mute. Kirsten, thank you very much. Virginia, you're up next. You have 3 minutes to describe yourself.
Good evening. My name is Virginia Chang Crawley. I'm pleased to be running for re-election to the Harbor Board, but this time in District 5, since the Harbor Board voted to have district elections in 2018. Though not well known, the San Mateo County Harbor District is important because its responsibilities are substantial and about 65% of its revenues come from our property taxes. Those responsibilities include supporting San Mateo County's commercial fishing industry at Pillar Point, operating Oyster Point Marina and the ferry terminal in South San Francisco, water rescue, marine life protection, and clean water initiatives along the San Mateo County's coasts. I've had the honor of representing you and all San Mateo County residents as a Harbor Board Commissioner since 2015, and I'm privileged to be the incumbent in this election for the Harbor Board District 5 seat. I was appointed to the Harbor Board in November 2015 and ran for a full 4-year term in a countywide election in 2016. Upon my election, I proudly became the first woman of color to be elected to the Harbor Board in the history of the Harbor District. I am currently the only commissioner and candidate in District 5 with a financial background, so I bring an important skill set of financial oversight necessary to act as a fiduciary of tax dollars, which fund capital projects that I have worked on during my tenure on the Harbor Board. Because of my financial background and my work as a trustee on the California State Parks Foundation Board for the last 9 years and counting, I have been able to see the nexus between economic development and environmental sustainability, which was useful since the Harbor District is an independent enterprise district, which means it receives revenues from commercial and residential tenants as well as our property taxes. As a former appointed commissioner on the California Commission for Economic Development, I have been interested in the various economic drivers in California, such as the biotech industry, agriculture, and park preservation for visitors. San Mateo County encapsulates all of these industries and the interests that must work together to shape our cities and the county from a revenue standpoint and an environmental sustainability standpoint. I look forward to a dialogue with you tonight and thank the Half Moon Bay and Coastside Chamber of Commerce for the opportunity to hear from you and to tell you more about my candidacy. To tell you a little bit about my background, I am a graduate from the University of Texas with a degree in government and a minor in economics. And I also have a master's of public administration from the University of Southern California. I love the outdoors. I love walking with my dog. I love the coastal trails. I love being on the coast side and also just being on the water. I also appreciate the fact that San Mateo County residents respect the environment that we live in and also respect the fact that we have to be able to fund projects so that we can work together to build a better and a sustainable San Mateo County. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Virginia.
Thank you.
And now, Tom, you have 3 minutes to introduce yourself.
Tom Matoush. I've been elected 2 terms for the Harbor District. I'm an incumbent. My background is I came to the Harbor District in about 1990. I have a license to operate vessels from the Coast Guard. I've run a number of different boats in the harbor, not only just charter boats, but also commercial vessels. I sat on the regional working group and helped set up the marine reserves for the Central and Northern California coasts. I currently have the research science assignment of monitoring in the reserves and out of the reserves through San Jose State University and Moss Landing Marine Lab. And currently the new project was UC Davis and Bodega Marine Lab. So I'm on the water quite a bit and eyes and ears on water quality and different changes in marine life and seeing firsthand as somebody that's on land and on the water quite a bit. My background includes an MBA in management. I've had some major corporate positions running diagnostic imaging centers, open heart surgery programs, cardiology departments in hospitals. I've had a cardiology practice in Texas, along with the hospital and a nuclear medicine facility. Got a financial background that allows me to look at the revenue and the expense side and make decisions that are best for the organization. I've been working out of the harbor for a long time. I've seen what's going on since 1990, and I got interested in trying to put my hand on the steering wheel and say, how can I help make this better for the residents of San Mateo County and the people that are in the harbor, the leaseholders, the renters, the commercial fishermen, the recreational fishermen. I was part of a group, a founding member of Coastside Fishing Club. Coastside Fishing Club is the group that currently has the salmon acclimation pens. We're currently acclimating 750,000 salmon per year, and that's been a benefit for the commercial and the recreational anglers of this area. I've got a couple of dogs that I love to walk on the bluffs and show friends how beautiful these things are. Water quality is a big topic to me, but I think we're going to address that a little later. So I look forward to getting your vote. My website is tomforharbor.com. Please stop by, take a look, and get to know me better.
All right, thank you, Tom. We're now going to move into the questioning portion of the event. We're going to start off with Virginia. You're going to answer the question first, and then Tom, you're second, and Kirsten, you will be third. So question number one, Virginia, why did you choose to run for the commission as your path to improving the community?
I decided to run for re-election because the Harbor District and the Harbor Board need to have an experienced commissioner with a proven track record of accomplishments to continue providing consistent, stable, and ethical leadership during these unprecedented times of COVID-19 and the aftermath of the wildfires that have impacted San Mateo County residents, businesses, workers, public projects, and public budgets, fostering a calm and productive workplace free from harassment and micromanagement by Harbor Board commissioners so that the working environment is better for workers, helping guide the Harbor District's budget to be sustainable while funding public projects based on funding priorities set out in the Harbor District's or Harbor Board's strategic plan, and being on a solid track to get past the challenging board dynamics and unethical behavior by some of the Harbor commissioners. I believe that my leadership and being reelected to the Harbor Board will put the Harbor District and Harbor Board on solid footing so that we can continue doing the people's business with integrity, transparency, and financial prudence.
All right, Tom, why did you choose to run for the commission as your path to improving the community?
The Harbor District has made a lot of gains and gotten on a lot more firmer footing. When I was first running for office, I couldn't understand how people said that the taxpayers are subsidizing the slip holders, for instance. Well, now, after being on the board for a couple of terms, we have enterprise and non-enterprise funds. We can tell you what the leaseholders, the renters, money goes for. We can tell you what the taxes go for to maintain the coastal trail and empty the trash. I want to continue a few more things that we've got going. We've got a capital improvement program, our dredge program that's been going on for a long time. There's certain things that I'd be really proud of just participating and bringing that to conclusion. And somebody with my experience is the person that can do that for the voters, the leaseholders, the renters, and the tenants.
All right, Kirsten, why did you choose to run for the commission as your path to improving the community?
Thank you. Hi. I love our oceans and our beaches and our harbors, and I've always been a water person. I lived in Redwood Shores previously and had a windsurfer and a sailboat growing up in high school and just loved being out on the water. And as I said, I got scuba diving certified when I was in high school as well, and then had the pleasure of working on scuba diving boats. And I have a passion for the water. I think it's a wonderful place. I think that we're so lucky in San Mateo County to have these great harbors, both Pillar Point and Oyster Point, and access to the water. And I have written a couple of different articles about goals and priorities, but ensuring strong environmental stewardship is really important to me. I have been on City Council in Menlo Park. I was on it for 8 years, twice as mayor. We did do strategic plans and master plans, and I know that's something that's really important for the Harbor District to complete so that we have a real strong path forward. And I'm excited about being involved in that and enhancing public safety at the harbor. So thank you.
All right, thank you. So now question 2, we're going to start with Tom and then move to Kirsten, and Virginia will be third for this question. So Tom, how will you balance being present for the many meetings and functions needed to participate in the commission while maintaining your other life and or job commitments? You're on mute, Tom.
That's not too big of a challenge for me since when I'm working at the harbor, I'm in the harbor, and I can also adjust my schedule, whether it's for meetings or tours, helping the public learn more about the harbor. My position now is to take people out and show them a good time. About the only job that could be better than mine is working in an ice cream store, giving people ice cream on a nice warm day. I take people out fishing now, whale watching, bird watching. There's nothing more rewarding than taking the public out and showing them a great time on the ocean. There's no extra effort for me to either be in the harbor or to be working with administration because I'm already there. It's where I live, It's where I work. I'm within walking distance of the harbor right now. And I love to see the plans develop and come forward regarding Oyster Point and how that's coming along and becoming the dream that was talked about 20 years ago.
All right, thank you. Kirsten, how will you balance being present for the many meetings and functions needed to participate in the commission while maintaining your other life and or job commitments?
Thanks for asking the question. I actually served on the Menlo Park City Council for 8 years, and we had many meetings, and I always made it work. You just make it work. I think it's important to have the meetings at night so that if you have a day job, that you can participate and be involved. And it's never been a problem. So I've been able to balance that. I've been on boards and commissions for over 25 years in our county, and I've been coming to Half Moon Bay and enjoying the coast since forever, really, and all the time in high school and now. And I love coming over now to go kayaking and just be out on the water. It's a wonderful place to be. I don't see it as a problem, but something that's enjoyable. It's giving back to the community. I think I have a strong skill set to help out with the important public things, policy issues that are coming forward for the Harbor District. So I don't find it a challenge. I find it something that is enjoyable to do.
All right, Virginia, how will you balance being present for the many meetings and functions needed to participate in the commission while maintaining your other life and or job commitments?
Well, thanks for the question, Brian. I've actually been doing this for the last 5 years. I serve on this board and another special district board, but I actually have more time now because I actually finally graduated with my master's from the University of Southern California in August. So I will have more time to do what I've already been doing, which has been serving the public. I've been very lucky and fortunate to be able to impart my skill set in from my professional background in financial analysis, planning, and management, and I continue to do that. It's the highest priority, I believe, for any elected member of any public agency, and I'm very proud to be able to offer that as something that I can do and provide. I am a mother. I think that when you're a mother and you used to work full time, you know, you're able to balance things and balance a busy life. And as the saying goes, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. I'm very proud of my track record of really not having missed really any meetings that were required of my being here. So I will look forward to continue my service. Thank you.
Yeah. So, question number 3. So for this one, we're going to start with Kirsten. Virginia, you'll be going second, and Tom, you'll be going third. What is your plan for helping the economic recovery of the businesses within the harbor? How would you work towards engaging locals and visitors to the harbor to bring more business to the fishermen, restaurants, and shops?
Okay, am I on mute? I think that the economic recovery is crucial. And when I come over now, I do see a lot of people, especially on the weekends, enjoying the restaurants. And everybody's masked and being careful. And I think that's really important. And it's great to see so many people coming to the harbor, coming to Johnson Pier, surfing, kayaking, coming to the restaurants. I think it's really great. And I think we have to keep up the CDC guidelines of social distancing, masking, making sure we're washing our hands. And then I know, working with the Chamber of Commerce to keep driving people to the Coastside. I love the articles that you have on your website. And I noticed, we just, on the weekends right now, it's very crowded coming on over to the Coastside for the pumpkin festivals, and everybody's really excited and coming back, and it's nice to see. And I think people want to come to the Coastside. People love the San Mateo County Coastside and want to come over there, which is totally evident by 92 on the weekends. So I think just keeping up, helping the chamber promote what's going on there and promoting what's happening at the harbor will help bring more business.
All right. Tom, what is your plan for helping the economic recovery of the businesses within the harbor? How would you work towards engaging locals and visitors to the harbor to bring more business to the fishermen, restaurants, and shops?
That's exactly what I do for my business now when I'm bringing the fishermen in and letting them know where they can eat, where they can shop. I have people asking me all the time, where can I buy fish? I've helped participate with sending people to the different commercial fishermen I bring people to the harbor with my own business routinely. I give recommendations. I don't know how many people call me per month and say, how can I buy fish? So I can't sell you fish. Here's an individual that I work with that is more than happy to get you fish. I've worked with all the restaurants. I've worked with the shops in the past. I've helped many of the shopkeepers with their business interest. My minor through my MBA program was marketing. I've got a social media presence. I work with Coastside Fishing Club, 14,000 members. I have a presence there. So as pointed out, we have to worry about how to handle all of our traffic right now.
All right, thank you. Moving on to question number 4. For this one, we're going to start with Virginia, and then Tom, you'll be going second.
Brian,
Oh, yes?
I don't think I answered the economic recovery question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Kirsten, Tom, my apologies. Excuse me.
That's okay.
Sorry, Virginia.
No
What is your
problem.
plan, Virginia? What is your plan for helping the economic recovery of the businesses within the harbor? How would you work towards engaging locals and visitors to the harbor to bring more business to the fishermen, restaurants, and shops?
Well, economic recovery is important to the Harbor District since about 35% of the Harbor District's revenues are from commercial business from our commercial tenants. Therefore, partnerships with organizations like the Half Moon Bay Seafood Marketing Association and the Chamber of Commerce are really important so that we understand, the business climate that we are in as the climate continues to fluctuate. I am proud of my work with the staff and many of my fellow commissioners in dealing with 2 crises, the pandemic and the CZ Lightning Complex fire happening simultaneously with one exacerbating the other. We're still in an unpredictable situation with COVID-19, since it's still a part of our lives. Now that businesses are allowed to open, albeit slowly, the CDC guidelines of social distancing and wearing masks will be more important than ever. County and state guidelines will also be important to follow. The pier has painted stripes, for example, that mark the 6-foot distance for visitors, business, staff, and the public. The county also continues to mandate masks in certain public areas, which the Harbor District enforces. And lastly, the Harbor District is prepared to close its public parking lots if needed to ensure that the public, residents, and staff are safe. As the only District 5 candidate having to face these unprecedented crises, I believe that my experience and leadership are needed more now than ever so that I can continue the work on the Harbor Board to help lead the COVID-19 recovery while taking measured steps to ensure that the public continues to be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. And I apologize for that. I
That's okay.
marked my notes. So for question 4, Virginia, you're going to be starting off. Tom, you'll be going second, and Kirsten will be going third. If we had another pandemic or like events during your term, what would you do to help with community safety?
With community safety? Is that the?
Yes.
Okay. So unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic was a real issue that the Harbor District and Harbor Board have faced since mid-March when the shelter-in-place order became effective in California. As the only candidate in District 5 who dealt with this emergency, I'm very familiar with and support how the general manager has handled this crisis. With a fluid situation and having to shut down businesses that were not essential, the Harbor District and Harbor Board approved protocols that protected the district's residential tenants, the public, and the frontline harbor patrol staff. Following CDC guidelines was important, but what was equally important was working in concert with all levels of government based on state and county mandates, such as whether to close parking along Highway 1 or limit access to the public beaches by closing the Harbor District's public parking, while keeping in mind that these are all public spaces. So while the slow reopening of businesses is beginning to happen, these guidelines and protocols will be more important than ever to follow. Honestly, though, another pandemic may require different solutions. So if we're faced with different needs, at least these protocols will be put in place as a baseline. Thank you.
All right, Tom, if we had another pandemic or like event during your term, what would you do to help with community safety?
Well, we have a good sketch plan right now in how we social distance. We've closed the entire Harbor District lands when we had to prevent people from coming over here. It's just such a draw to come to the coast. It's really challenging to say, hey, the harbor's shut down, you can't come in. We've watched our harbor patrol turn people away unless you were actually a slip holder. the whole thing with the social distancing, how we disinfect things, but at the same time, we have to put a hand out to those that needed it. As an incumbent, I sat down and I worked with the fishermen and said, look, let's develop a way. I found a model that worked out of San Francisco. I shared that because just because it's a shutdown doesn't mean that people have to stop working. They've got to maintain some sort of semblance of income. So the disinfecting, social distancing, and who knows what's going to come up on the next one.
All right, Kirsten, if we had another pandemic or like event during your term, what would you do to help with community safety?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think a lot of the things that we've done so far have been really important. I think having CDC guidelines is crucial, and having everybody follow them. I think also working with the sheriff's department. I mean, we saw that we had COVID-19 hit, and then of course the fires and evacuees from Santa Cruz County and San Mateo County. So there can be a lot of things to deal with at one time. If something happens in the future, I think we'll have to look at to see what parameters right now that we're using work well, or if we need to adopt different parameters. Some of the things we might be able to do if we have to shut down beaches, for example, is to allow people to actually have access to the water. So to surf or to kayak, paddleboard, be out in the water, but not on the beach, such as, what happened during COVID when Santa Cruz and San Mateo counties had times when they had to limit people coming, and they didn't want people coming, so they closed the beaches until 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So there are different things we can do, and that we have to work on. And the parking lots, if the parking lots are full, turning people away or having minimal parking, there are just different things we can do, but keeping social distancing, masking, and cleanliness.
All right, thank you. Question number 5, we're going to start with Tom. Kirsten, you're going to be going second, and Virginia, you'll be going third. How would you improve the infrastructure of the harbor?
That's an ongoing plan right now. We have far greater plans. We know we've prioritized our capital improvement and our infrastructure. We're looking at different ways to fund things. The pandemic threw a little bit of a wrench into our financial planning and some of our capital assets, but the whole thing is what we're working towards right now. It isn't so much that we have something to do. It's like having leaders that will come in and help implement these things in a timely manner. We're one of the few districts that not only paid down all of our debt, look at how we paid down our pension liabilities. Find any other district that's cut their pension liabilities in half because of the financial resources and the leadership of the district. But we have a plan. We just need people to implement it. And that's what the current board and the future board will be on the way to do.
All right, Kirsten, how would you improve the infrastructure of the harbor?
Thank you. So I did write about this also on an article that I wrote about how important it is to complete the strategic plan and the facilities master plan. And I know with community input, the Harbor Commission developed a 2019 draft strategic plan. And I have the experience and the insight to help complete this important process, which is really important. We did strategic and master plans for the city of Menlo Park, and I have that experience. And as part of the Harbor District's planning process, I am also committed to improving preparedness for sea level rise and other climate-related emergencies. And some of the facility upgrades, I think the master plan must be completed, ensuring high-quality, modern facilities that serve the lessees and the harbor users and the visitors in a safe, reliable, efficient, cost-effective manner. And some of the infrastructure projects that need to be worked on are the Johnson Pier improvements, addressing ADA concerns, dredging and beach replenishment, fuel dock improvements, the coastal trail improvements, including the West Shoreline Trail restroom and parking lot, and installing EV car charge stations and other things that I wrote about in my article. Thank you.
All right, and Virginia, how would you improve the infrastructure of the harbor?
During my 5 years that I've been on the Harbor Board, I've been working on ensuring that capital projects are adequately funded and completed. Some key initiatives that I've been involved with are protecting the West Trail shoreline that creates natural barriers for rising tides, dredging and nourishing Surfers Beach, and improving green spaces and adding bathrooms at Surfers Beach. But over the decades, there have been bigger storms and more sand improvement, which we predict will continue to happen. Therefore, financial planning and management is important. As a member of the Finance Committee for 4 out of the 5 years I've served on the Harbor Board, I've helped develop funding these projects as priorities so that they could be completed while adjusting the budget for COVID-19 risks and consequences. For special districts such as the Harbor District, having healthy reserves is important because most of our revenues are from property taxes. Therefore, I am pleased that on April 15th, through a meeting that had a lot of commotion, Commissioners Wiring, Mateusz, and I approved a new reserve policy that allows for the Harbor District to manage our finances based on the board's capital improvement priorities that were outlined and finalized in the strategic plan from 2019 when I was once again the board president. Therefore, I look forward to using my financial background to help fund these projects that are important for combating sea level rise. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, question number 6. So for this one, we're going to start with Kirsten. Virginia, you're going to go second, and Tom, you'll be going third. Kirsten, how can you help to reduce dangerous bacterial levels in the Half Moon Bay Harbor?
That is an ongoing problem, and I think I also wrote about this, but the San Francisco Bay Regional Water Quality Control Board held a public workshop in 2019 for the Pillar Point Harbor and Venice Beach bacteria TMDL. And that explored a lot of ways to improve water quality. And I do endorse these, and I'm looking forward to working on these issues. But evaluating and improving the existing infrastructure, sanitary sewer lines and the septic systems, constructing stormwater treatment systems, measures to divert and clean runoff from the manure, upgrading Pillar Point's boat ramp restroom, controlling tree roots around sanitary lines, and measures to manage pet waste. I think these are all good ideas, and this project needs to move forward. I think we also need to have a plan about educating the public about dog waste and making sure that there are more bag stations around to pick up after dogs. I have 2 dogs, and I love walking them on the coastal trails and going to the beaches, and they love going over there, but we need to make sure that we're always cleaning up and help educate people to understand that keeping things out of the storm sewer system is one of the best ways to keep the harbor clean.
All right, Virginia, how can you help to reduce dangerous bacterial levels in the Half Moon Bay Harbor?
Well, clean water has always been a high priority for the Harbor District and Harbor Board. The Harbor District has worked collaboratively with the Resource Conservation District for many years and has allocated $300,000 for the next 3 years, or $100,000 per year, to ensure that adequate testing occurs with legitimate results based on facts and science by testers who actually have science degrees and qualifications. San Mateo County has more state beaches and state parks than almost any county in California, so water quality is an issue that the Harbor District and Harbor Board take very seriously. One area of improvement that is needed is for all stakeholders to be committed to ensuring that clean water is a priority. The Harbor District has worked collaboratively with other public agencies such as the county and nonprofit organizations such as Sea Hugger. I'm particularly proud of the collaboration with Sea Hugger when I was board president in 2018. Because of my relationships with various environmental groups and businesses on the coast, Sea Hugger approached me about developing a pilot program called the Sea Bin Project, which cleans microplastics, macroplastics, and marine oil from the marine water in the harbor. The cost for each sea bin is about $6,000, and thanks to community donors, the Harbor District was able to develop this pilot project to help understand what kind of pollutants were in harbor waters and clean it up. The Harbor District has an opportunity to continue its collaborative work with other public agencies vis-a-vis the RCD and nonprofits such as Sea Hugger to ensure that all stakeholders are doing their part to improve the water quality for our marine waters within the harbor and in San Francisco Bay. Thank you.
All right. And Tom, how would you help to reduce dangerous bacterial levels in the Half Moon Bay Harbor?
Actually, that's already underway right now. Many of the projects that Virginia just mentioned, but RCD, we've got a plan for $300,000. Sea Hugger program has been fantastic. If you haven't seen those, how successful it is, pulling litter and different debris out of the water. The ongoing projects also include digging up parking lot and structure, tracing out pipes. If you've been to the RCD presentations, you know about the fog, bat soils, and grease. There's pipes that have been dead-ended, broken, terminated. These things are in the process of being repaired. I was one of the people who was able to increase. It's not just dog litter. Driving down to the harbor at 3 and 4 in the morning, you see tons of raccoons. We've got thousands of raccoons that live in the sewer system. So it isn't just dog waste. You've got a myriad of wildlife here. They don't have the facilities to increase the testing reagents to tell us what all the different mammals are. But it's a process that's ongoing, and I support clean water. I've been a diver, a fisherman. It's important for all of us to experience clean water.
All right. Now we're moving on to question number 7. So Virginia, we're going to have you start with this one. Tom, you'll be going second, and Kirsten, you'll be going third. So Virginia, how would you work towards helping the commission have calmer meetings that accomplish more?
Well, it's a very simple question with a very short answer, short and sweet. The Harbor District or Harbor Board approved a code of conduct for harbor commissioners to follow in order to improve decorum at our meetings. 3 of us, Commissioners Mateusz, Ryan, and I, have signed and returned the pledge that we will honor the code of conduct, which essentially asks harbor commissioners to treat each other and conduct ourselves in a respectful manner during harbor board meetings and when we are in public representing the harbor district. I will continue to be the voice of reason and continue to rise above the fray and continue to conduct myself with the utmost, the highest level of integrity and honesty as I have done, which is the reason that I was appointed to the Harbor Commission in 2015 and the reason I was re-elected or elected in 2016. Thank you.
All right, Tom, how would you work towards helping the commission have calmer meetings that accomplish more?
The Harbor District has brought in consultants, and we've gone through full-day seminars, and we have an agreed-upon pack of principles, and some of us follow those principles, and some of us do not. I think that this is an opportunity to put 5 people in a room together that don't have their own self-centered agendas and work together for the Harbor District and make things happen in a far more reasonable manner. It isn't a question of one person doing something right. It's all of us working together and not letting the squeaky wheel consistently get the grease.
Thank you. And Kirsten, how would you work towards helping the commission have calmer meetings that accomplish more?
Well, I have 25 years of experience serving on boards and commissions, and we have calm meetings and we accomplish a lot. And we always focus on the good work that we're doing for the public or for the nonprofit or for the agency that we're working on. And it's not difficult. You come together, you work on your projects. I was on a city council for 8 years. We worked on all sorts of different issues. We didn't always agree on issues, but that's okay. We work professionally and collaboratively, and I think that's important. And always keep the public's agenda, the public's interest above anything else. And at the end of the day, when we vote on things, and if we don't agree, if we disagree, that's okay. We move on. And I think it's important to be able to explain why you vote a certain way so that the public understands. I think when people understand why you're voting a certain way, that's helpful. But this just hasn't been a problem on any boards or commissions that I've been on. They've been very collaborative and professional, and that's how I like to keep them. And I enjoy working with people that way.
All right, thank you. This brings us to our last question, question number 8. We're going to start with Tom, and then Kirsten, you'll be going second, and Virginia, you'll be going third. So Tom, if there is an agenda item or a harbor issue pertaining to something that poses a conflict of interest for you, will you be forthcoming and recuse yourself proactively from the issue?
Yes, and I've done that in the past. There's also been various legal challenges to that about how to avoid conflict of interest. In the past, I've used the harbor attorneys. We've discussed these things, if it might even possibly be an issue, and I've conferred. I've always done what they've recommended. I've recused myself when I felt that there was a conflict of interest. It's not an issue for me at all.
All right, Kirsten, If there's an agenda item or harbor issue pertaining to something that poses a conflict of interest for you, will you be forthcoming and recuse yourself proactively from the issue?
Absolutely. There's just no question. That's what you do. That's why you have legal counsel. If you need to discuss any conflict of issue, you bring it up, you discuss it, and you move on. It's not a problem. I'm an attorney. That's why you have attorneys. We've had other people on council have conflict of interest issues, and we would rely on our excellent attorneys and utilize their expertise and always follow it. I mean, there's no reason not to.
And Virginia, if there is an agenda item or harbor issue pertaining to something that poses a conflict of interest for you, will you be forthcoming and recuse yourself proactively from the issue?
An emphatic yes. Absolutely. There's no question about it. Any elected board is here to do the work of the people. And there's no room for personal agendas. There's no room for unethical behavior. In fact, I know that having worked with Commissioner Mateusz, he has willingly recused himself, and I've had to step in to run the meeting, such as the time when we were dealing with the Maverick Surf competition permitting process. And I was very glad that Commissioner Mateusz willingly recused himself because he knew that he had a conflict. And, you know, I've never had a conflict of interest. I try to stay, I always stay above the law as much as I can. And I mean, there's been no question about my integrity. We're here to do the people's work, and there's no room for personal agendas. So absolutely, yes, I would willingly and happily recuse myself. Thank you.
All right, thank you all for answering the questions. Now we're going to move to our final closing comments. Tom, we're going to start with you, and then Kirsten, you'll be going second, and Virginia, you'll be going third. For this final outro, you each get 3 minutes to close the meeting. Tom, you have 3 minutes.
As a candidate running for re-election again, I can say that there's no one in the Harbor District that has the amount of experience and time in the harbor on a day-to-day basis for the past 20 plus years as I have. As Crystalline will say, yes, he's been a member running his business of our Chamber of Commerce for over 20 years on the ecotourism board. The whole thing is knowing where everything exists, seeing what's changed, seeing what needs to be changed, being down there on a regular day-to-day basis. I'm actually the person that I think the public can absolutely count on to not only make the best decision, but to act in the best interest of the public, the fishermen, the leaseholders, and the tenants. That's part of the value that I bring in all the different aspects of volunteering on a couple of different nonprofit boards, working a business in the harbor, and helping other people's businesses grow, teaching people on a regular basis, informing the public of things that are going on, bringing new and fresh ideas from various committees and groups that I also work with. So I would sincerely ask for your vote in November for the District 4 seat for the Harbor District.
All right, thank you, Tom. Kirsten, you have 3 minutes to give your final comments.
Thank you. And thank you so much for hosting this evening. It's a great community engagement tool, and I appreciate that. I certainly would like to request your vote on or before November 3rd for the Harbor District for District 5. It would be an honor to serve you there. I think I have the background, the skill set to do so. Please go to www.kirstenkeith.com to see more. I will just say that some of my top priorities for the Harbor District are ensuring a strong environmental stewardship, completing the strategic plan and the facilities master plan, enhancing public safety, and on my website I'd go into more detail on all these things, implementing facility upgrades, which I think is so important, including the Johnson Pier improvements, and ensuring fiscal responsibility and managing the debt appropriately, developing a debt policy plan. I think finances are key because once we do a master plan, we're going to have to find the money to pay for the projects that we want to do, and keeping our eye on the ball on that is going to be very important. with the San Francisco Creek Joint Powers Authority. Like I said, we did a $76 million flood control project without the Army Corps of Engineers because we realized it was going to take too much time with them. So we had to work as a group together to come up with quite a bit of money. Like I said, the phase one was $76 million, but it was well worth it and very important because it protects East Palo Alto from flooding and over 1,000 homes from flooding. And so those are the kind of things, my skill set that I bring to the table to do this. Additionally, I am a water person. I have always been a water person. I'm a Pisces. I love scuba diving, swimming, love kayaking, have enjoyed going out to the buoys and seeing all the sea lions and the birds and the fish and the kelp. And I just think the Coastside is a fabulous place to be. And I know so many of our residents in San Mateo County feel the same way. And of course, residents from other counties farther east or wherever love to come to the Coastside. I love the fresh fish. I'm actually a pescatarian, so I love fresh fish. And I think I have, like I said, the skill set after serving on Menlo Park City Council for 8 years, serving as a director on the San Francisco Creek Joint Powers Authority for 7 years, and serving on the Bay Area Water Supply and Conservation Agency for 7 years. Additionally, I served on our Menlo Park Planning Commission for 6 years, so I have a lot of background in planning, and like I said, the strategic plans and master plans are going to be key. So please vote for Kirsten Keith for Harbor Commission for District 5 on or before November 3rd. Please go to kirstenkeith.com to learn more. And I've written several articles and posted my Coastside Families Taking Action. That's on there. The questions that they asked, daily post questions are on there. So you can see a lot more of my responses to organizations that have been requesting questionnaires and information. And I'm happy to share that. Believe in transparency and happy to work with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirsten. And Virginia, you now have 3 minutes to close your final thoughts.
Thank you. And thank you to the Half Moon Bay and Coastside Chamber of Commerce for hosting this candidates forum. I'm very glad that we've had a chance to discuss our views. I've had the privilege of serving you since 2015 on the Harbor Board. I'd be honored to have your vote so that I can continue bringing stability to the Harbor Board and the Harbor District. As the only District 5 candidate to have a financial background, I will make sure that the Harbor District stays financially healthy during these tough economic times and prepare and plan to fund capital projects that mitigate the consequences of sea level rise, both at Pillar Point and at Oyster Point, things that I have already done and hope to continue to do. I will continue to be the voice of reason so that the Harbor District is a calm and productive workplace free of harassment. This has been seen as a huge positive for me since most of my endorsements have seen that I've been able to lead in this area, which is the reason I have the endorsements of Assembly Member Mark Berman, Assembly Member and Speaker Pro Tem Kevin Mullen, Board of Supervisor Member Don Horsley, Supervisor Carol Groom, Supervisor Dave Pine, and Assembly Member Phil Ting up to the north because he understands how important South San Francisco is, just as Mark Berman understands the importance of Pillar Point and the need for the Coastside to recover from these from the pandemic and the aftermath of the CZU lightning fire. I will continue to focus on those business recovery efforts as well through these difficult crises. I believe that my steady leadership is needed now more than ever, and I humbly ask for your vote on or before November 3rd. To learn more about my campaign, please visit my website, www.virginiachangkarali.com. Thank you so much for spending time with us, and I look forward to serving you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Virginia. So I'd like to say just that small government is the type of government that affects us most directly, and having an informed constituency is important to making the right choices. So Virginia Chang Crowley, and Crystal Lynn, I'd like to also thank the Half Moon Bay Coastside Chamber of Commerce for putting on this event. So thank you all very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Brian Sheppard with the Half Moon Bay Coastside Chamber of Commerce. I'm joined with Crystal Lynn Geet, the Executive Director. and I am also on the Government Affairs Committee. We're here tonight for the candidate forum for the Midcoast Community Council. We tried multiple times to schedule the forum. With the absence of a day that worked for everyone, we moved ahead in the hopes that they could find the time to participate in this process. The information to join this forum was sent to all candidates, but none showed up to participate. We encourage the constituency to research each candidate and make an informed decision. Thank you and good night.